ready to embark on a journey that could change your life forever. If you're a woman and you're like me in midlife, if you're seeking adventure or peace or some kind of journey of self-discovery, then I'm going to share with you today 10 destinations that can truly help you to transform through travel. Through this video, I'm going to share my personal stories of each of these destinations, which have the potential for life-changing experiences. And I'm also going to share my tips for you if you're planning to do a similar journey to mine. So, if you're looking and any of these inspire you, then please leave a comment below. And if you want to do something like this and take one of these self-discovery transformational journeys, but have literally no idea where to start, don't panic, I've got you. I have over 30 years of independent travel under my belt. Many of the countries I've visited have been solo. I've seen over 80 countries across 6 continents, and I've instilled all of the mistakes that I've made, and I've made a lot, all of the lessons I've learned, all of my tips, tricks, hacks, advice has all been distilled into a 6-week program for you to take you from how you might feel now, which is a little unsure and a little nervous. I'm going to hold your hand every step of the way through the journey so that you finish the program, my Find Your Way program, feeling excited and with your dream trip booked. So click on the link below, click on the link to find your way for my Find Your Way program, and let's take this first step on your journey to rediscovery. So let's get on with my top 10 life-changing destinations for women like me in midlife and wanting a transformational journey. First on my list is Cuba, which remains my favorite country in the world. There's something very different about Cuba. It's unlike anywhere else I've been in the world. It's complicated and everything is complicated. But if you dig beneath the surface, it can really, really deliver one of those transformational experiences. It has vibrant culture and music that can really reawaken the joy within you. You can dance the night away at any of the salsa clubs, and trust me, there'll be plenty of people there who can teach you how to do it if you don't know. But also, there is a limited level of Wi-Fi and connectivity in Cuba, and that is a brilliant opportunity to have a proper digital detox. It allows you to reconnect with other people and reconnect with yourself in a way that you can't necessarily do anywhere where you can get online and connect with the world. So my top tips are firstly, take salsa lessons wherever you are. It will be amazing. It's an amazing way to properly immerse yourself in the culture. Doesn't matter if you're no good, that's fine. I'm not any good, and I've taken loads of lessons. So my other top tips, firstly, start with Havana. And if you're in Havana, then experience the old town, Havana Vieja. It's the bit that you see on all the travel shows. But if you can, delve a little deeper beyond just the glossy Havana Vieja, and you see another side of Cuba, another side of Havana. And to me, it's a way more interesting side of it. Also, once you've seen Havana, then delve a little bit deeper and maybe head to Trinidad for something more traditional in terms of the architecture and a kind of slower pace of life, or go to the beautiful landscapes of Viñales to do some hiking and watch the sunrise over the amazing landscape features. They would be my 2 recommendations. Next on my list is Spain, and most specifically, hiking the Camino de Santiago. Walking the Camino, there is something very special that I have never experienced in all of the hikes I've done before. There are a lot of people walking the Camino. Everybody brings their own baggage, and I don't mean what they're carrying on their shoulders. And everybody is always walking in the same direction. So you will see familiar faces and you can connect with people, but most importantly, you can connect with yourself. Both the physicalness of getting up every day, lacing up your boots and going out to do another 20-kilometer hike. But in that time, it also gives you the gorgeous landscapes to walk through, the time with yourself to really connect to your purpose, your future, your plans for your next chapter in life, what the previous chapter brought you, what it maybe didn't bring you. Look at this. Not all of them. Not all of the signs are that obvious. It is the best way I know of A, being in nature, B, doing something physical that is going to help you in the long term, and C, really giving you the chance and the opportunity to be within yourself and within your own head. I hear bagpipes. For me, it taught me about resilience, that keeping going every day, every one step at a time. But it also allowed me time to reflect on the chapter of life I'm in and what the next chapter might look like. What I would say is when you're doing the Camino, pick a route that is attractive. I did the Portuguese route, which you can do 100 kilometers in a week. It was absolutely beautiful. But the Camino de Santiago is an experience like no other anywhere else in the world. I am in pain. Everything hurts. It's hard to put one foot in front of the other. What an experience. I am still slightly overwhelmed. It's been an amazing physical and I guess a spiritual journey too. Third on my list is Tanzania for two main reasons. Firstly, it's the incredible wildlife safari experiences that you can get in Tanzania. Secondly, it's because of the opportunity to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I climbed Kili to celebrate my 50th birthday, and I have never experienced a mental and physical challenge, and I mean a mental challenge as well, before in my life. But watching the sunrise, having reached the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro, was the most unbelievable sense of achievement, exhaustion, and achievement, and just the sheer beauty of the view just brought me to tears. And the summit getting ever closer. If you are visiting Tanzania, there are lots of different colours and flavours to Tanzania. Maybe go to Zanzibar for some really relaxing time, chilling out on the beach, which is what I did for a week after I'd climbed the mountain. Number 4 on my list is Vietnam. Vietnam combines an interesting, terrifying history with serene beauty of the landscapes and the peace of Buddhist traditions that it brings with it, and a vibrant culture and amazing food. No. Hi. Bye. Yo. So what this gives you is an opportunity to explore the bustling city cultures along with more sedate regions like Sapa or the Mekong Delta. What I found the most interesting about Vietnam, firstly, it's the challenge of everything being so different. Potentially one of my most surreal travel experiences. You can't do anything there without focusing on what you're doing. Even crossing the road is a challenge in Vietnam, particularly in Ho Chi Minh or Saigon. And seeing the kind of things that the people of Vietnam have been through and how they survived and how they survived with just the resilience is amazing. So what I would try and do is combine a city like Saigon, and particularly I recommend a motorbike eating tour, which gives you a sense of everything that is Saigon. And I'd combine that with somewhere else. I went to Hoi An for a much more sedate, quieter opportunity to see a different slice of Vietnamese life. So for me, with my ginger mojito at the Rex Hotel in Saigon. Cheers. That's not a straw. Next on my list is beautiful New Zealand. Here's an example of New Zealand behind me. It's a great place if what you want to do is to reconnect with nature for the stunning landscape. It is also a great place if it's your first time solo traveling. There are a lot of solo female travelers in New Zealand because it has a certain serenity about it, the opportunity to get back to nature. And also it is deemed as one of the safer countries across the world. When you're in New Zealand, I would thoroughly recommend taking the opportunity to hike one of the trails. They have numerous, they call it tramping rather than hiking or walking. They have numerous tramping trails that you can do.
How cool is that view?
There are many different tracks around New Zealand that can take you out into nature for 2, 3, 4 days or even more. So today I'm on a bike cycling around Lake Wanaka.
So, cycle's going well. This is the most even tarmacked path I've been on so far.
But if hiking isn't your thing, then make sure you spend plenty of time down in the South Island.
Refreshing.
The South Island to me was where I really got the opportunity to connect with nature and have all of these amazing experiences. And it's very, very hard to do New Zealand without your own transport. I know a lot of people do camper vans. I've never done a camper van, but I have camped. So I would thoroughly recommend that. My first visit to New Zealand, I was there for 2 months. I spent 6 weeks of that in the South Island, 2 weeks in the North, and came home wishing I'd spent more time in the South Island.
Look at this amazing view.
Next on my list, we've made it to number 6, which is beautiful Iceland. What can I say about Iceland? It is a way to feel a very small sense of our small place in the world. In a small country, you get to experience the ultimate raw power of nature.
Wow, we're literally around the back of the waterfall.
Connecting with the people who live their lives next to a ever-present volcano with a glacier on top, which means if the volcano erupts, the whole place floods. So you've got like a double whammy.
This is what we get for hiking in the rain.
It's the most unbelievable place to connect with nature. Iceland is wild, it's raw, and it's nature at its absolute most serene and most angry all at the same time.
Wow.
Again, another safe country. I drove around Iceland on my own in a car so that I could see as much of the country as possible. And it never, ever failed to absolutely take my breath away.
That was amazing. I will never think it's normal to watch the earth steaming.
If you love waterfalls, glaciers, volcanoes, cracks in the earth where you can stand on 2 separate continents, snorkeling between 2 continents, Iceland has it all.
So the black on the glacier is volcanic ash from the volcano that sits underneath the kind of like the mother glacier.
Next on the list, number 7 is Ireland. We've gone Iceland to Ireland. Very different experience, but equally as life changing or life altering. I went to Ireland and drove the Wild Atlantic Way as a trip for celebrating my 50th. I did my 50th quite big.
It's a bit wild, but it's so cool.
It feels like a journey a little bit back in time, but it's one where you just take your time. I'd set out every morning on the Wild Atlantic Way, not necessarily knowing where the end of my journey might be, but with a list of things that I wanted to see along the way. And then at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd work out where I was likely to be, and then I'd book my accommodation. There's something very freeing about a trip like that. There's no hurry, there's no rush. And that's really what Ireland gives you, is the chance to just take your time and immerse yourself in a different slice of life.
pretty windy here.
And when you're in Ireland, I would avoid the big hotels if you can and focus on the smaller bed and breakfast experiences. They're the ones where you can really connect with locals to find where they would recommend in the area. So not everywhere is always in the guidebooks. And it's even more special when there aren't a whole heap of people there queuing up for the same photo. That way you get to see some of the really authentic Irish charm. And for me, some of the best stops were the ones where we just kind of like pulled up the car and stopped and looked in awe at the view in front of us, which some people would very quickly drive past because it wasn't a big name. But also go into the pub, sample the Guinness, listen to the music. You cannot help but fall in love with Ireland. Next on my list, number 8 is Peru. Now, Peru offers so much in terms of the landscape and the opportunities to connect, discover, explore some of the creations of ancient civilizations, which still blow our minds with how advanced they were with their building and their techniques. I went primarily for Machu Picchu, but there is so much more to Peru than just Machu Picchu. But for me, the defining moment was I hiked the Inca Trail up to Machu Picchu, which is 4 days of tough physical challenge, but so it makes the whole thing so much more rewarding. And particularly one thing I will never forget is sitting at the sun gate, watching the sunrise, and the only people there are people who have walked the Inca Trail to get there. My top tip for Peru is if you are going to Machu Picchu, then do make sure that you give yourself enough time to adjust to the altitude. Number 9 is Greece. And to me, Greece is all about the Greek islands. I've been island hopping in Greece, I think it's 8 or 9 times before, and I still can't wait to go again. And I'm someone who says, I never really like to go anywhere twice, because if you've really had a good time, you might not enjoy it as much. But Greece, every single time, delivers. Greece, a trip to Greece gives you the opportunity to connect with the ancient civilizations of Athens, a visit to the Parthenon, and seeing what they created all those years ago is mind-blowing. But then there's the serenity and the peace and the beautiful architecture.
Now you think you know bus stops? This is how you do a bus stop.
And the different cultures on every single island that you visit in the Greek islands, which really captures my heart. It gives you a chance to reconnect with yourself and to rediscover the joy through the food and the culture that you experience in Greece. For me, Greece is all about that moment of sitting on the beach, watching the sunset, the peace that comes with it, the tranquility that comes with it, the serenity that you feel with no rush, no stress. And there's nothing like Greece for me to give you that and to offer you that just chance to recharge and rejuvenate. My top tip for Greece would be to Santorini and Mykonos are both beautiful, and to a certain degree, they both have to be visited in themselves, but don't plan to stay a long time. Firstly, they're both incredibly expensive, and secondly, they're both incredibly busy. So I have lots of tips about where to go, but think about other islands. So if you're talking about the Cyclades, like Santorini and Mykonos, also think about Paros, which is beautiful.
So this is the famous church in the centre of Perikia in Paros.
Naxos, which is lovely, or different islands like Tinos or Milos. Each island has a different flavour, and to me, one of my favourite islands of all is Milos. And if you go there, definitely go on a boat trip. Check out my articles and blog posts and videos, by the way, of all of these destinations.
One thing they also have is a slightly over-friendly pelican.
And the final one on my list is Costa Rica. Costa Rica is synonymous with pura vida.
Hello! Hello! Right. Pura vida! Pura vida!
Which is pure life. They say that all the time. It's hello, it's goodbye, it's how are you, it's I'm fine, thank you, it's everywhere. And that sense really resonates with you when you're there. It's a brilliant opportunity to reconnect with nature, and that in turn is a brilliant opportunity to reconnect with yourself. In Costa Rica, you can explore eco destinations. It's very into its ecological credentials. And you can explore sustainability and wellness travel in a way like you can't in a lot of other places. Costa Rica is a fantastic place to reconnect with yourself. Costa Rica gives you a mix of all sorts of things. It's the nature, but also there's a huge opportunity to take part in adventure activities. Zip lining through the rainforest, it gives you a huge sense of freedom. But also whitewater rafting, walking along the treetops in Monteverde. Costa Rica offers so many opportunities for whatever it is you're looking for, or if, like me, that's a combination of all of those things. My top piece of advice for visiting Costa Rica is try and get a flavor of everything there is to offer. You've got the adventure activities in the center in the rainforest, but then also see if you can get to both different coasts. Each coast, the Pacific and the Atlantic coast, have a different personality and a different culture. And seeing all of those things give you even more of a flavor of what Costa Rica has to offer.
Oh my gosh, you go high.
I'd love to hear which ones appeal to you most, or what your top tips are for any of the countries I've mentioned. So please share them in the comments. And don't forget, if you're looking for more inspiration, then click on my 201 travel inspiration bucket list ideas. And if you want to do some of these adventures that I've mentioned, but really have no idea to start, then don't forget to connect with me through my Find Your Way program, when I give you everything that I've learned in 30 years in a succinct step-by-step program. Thank you so much for listening. Safe travels, and I look forward to seeing you next time.